And then your title, do you want to be Artisanal Distillery Manager at Evan Williams Bourbon Experience, or is there a different title you want to go by? Or
Master Artisanal Distiller.
Master Artisanal Distiller? Okay.
Is it Master Artisanal or Artisanal Master?
The one I saw yesterday was Master Artisanal Distiller.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right.
We'll see what she says next week, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's not me that changes it.
Next week, I'll be my pink sheet after today.
Well, we did it. We're here. It's our 100th episode, the big 100. I'm honestly amazed that we've made it this far. I mean, this is a monumental achievement, not only just for Ryan and myself, but as well as for all the Bourbon Pursuit listeners out there. I can't say thank you enough for helping support the show and getting it to where we are today. I remember back, probably was like the 15th or 20th episode, and that was when we kind of took our first hiatus, and people were saying, well, when's the next podcast? And that's when we realized that people like listening to this. This is a great podcast, and I think what we're doing is completely unique to what's been out there before. And we're just so happy that so many people find it enjoyable. And with that, we really need you to push out those iTunes reviews. Putting out an iTunes review does a few different things. One, it helps make us more noticeable on iTunes. So when people want to search for Bourbon Pursuit's always the number one result that comes up. With that, we can continue to keep calling ourselves the official podcast of Bourbon. As well, it's a big morale factor. When Ryan and we read these reviews, whether they're positive or negative, we take that feedback very seriously. And we can't thank you all enough for actually giving the constructive criticism that we need to make this the best possible show out there. With that, we also want to be able to push more information. We've got to grow our listener base a little bit more. So making those iTunes reviews and putting them out there is really a big help in driving and pushing this show to the best possible it can be. At the same time, we need your help too to help spread the word. If you are taking a road trip this summer with some friends, or you got a friend that's taking a road trip, or you've got friends that have long commutes every single day and they need a way to kill the time, tell us to download the podcast. Say Bourbon Pursuit's a great way to start getting into bourbon, start learning about it, learning about the history. And so hopefully they can become a little bit more educated, especially when they come over and they try to steal your Henry McKenna or anything like that. We had somebody that commented on our Facebook this past week, and they were asking if we were going to talk about what had happened in the secondary market. If you've been hiding underneath a rock, there was a huge reveal, and yes, we will be talking about it. So please subscribe and to iTunes first of all, but also if you want to be a part of it, we're going to be discussing on the next Bourbon Community Roundtable, which will be on Tuesday, the 27th, at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Time. And when we do this, of course, it's all on YouTube Live. We're going to put all the links out there on social media for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you follow all the guys. Blake from Bourboner, he'll probably put on the Bourboner Facebook group. Guys from Breaking Bourbon, as well as Brian from Sippin' Corn and Carrie from Suburbia. It's going to be a really lively discussion because if you hadn't paid attention, this is kind of like a big deal of what's going to be happening with a lot of the secondary bourbon markets going forward. So the last note here is that this week's guest is Charlie Downs, and I got to just say that Heaven Hill is a great friend of the show, and please show your support by going and liking their Facebook pages at the Evan Williams Bourbon Experience, as well as next time you're in Louisville, go ahead and go check out the Evans Williams Bourbon Experience. I can guarantee you that it's going to be a tour that you've never had before because it's unlike anything else in the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. And at the same exact time, go and knock on the glass window and tell Charlie, say, hey, we listened to your story on Bourbon Pursuit. And so hopefully he'll give you a nice handshake in return. So with that, I want to say thank you again and enjoy this 100th episode.
Ed Bly and Rising Tide Spirits are back again with a new release of Old Stubborn Bourbon. And this release of Old Stubborn is a premium hand marriage of 10, 11, and 12-year cask strength, barely filtered pot still bourbon. It comes in at a staggering 123.8 proof, and the flavoring grain for this one, which the last one was wheated, but this time it's now rye. Rich, sweet, and bold with a long finish that's sure to be another eye-opener. You can order online at Sealbox or thebourbonconcierge.com, and you can even purchase in person at Revival Vintage Spirits, and even now with very few select stores in Kentucky. You can get it now while you can, but be sure to do it because it's not going to last long.
Do you ever pour yourself a bourbon, swirl it around, and then start struggling to come up with tasting notes?
And perhaps you're also looking for a good Father's Day gift idea. Well, you can now solve both with a kit from Knows Your Bourbon. And unlike other nosing kits on the market, Knows Your Bourbon kits feature real ingredients for the most authentic aromas. You can smell real Tahitian vanilla bean instead of some synthetic aroma that's just made from chemicals. So head on over to knowsyourbourbon.com and enter code BP10 for 10% off your order.
Play Whiskey Wednesday Round 11, the memory game. Until June 26, each week you can win one of our 12 incredible grand prizes. Select 2 doors at checkout, and if they match on drawing night, you'll win that bottle. Not a match? No worries. You still score a Weller 12-year. Every $5 ticket gives you 5 chances to win, including 4 weekly bonus prizes. Get your tickets now at give270.org. Charitable Gaming License ORG 0002703.
From their bar to yours, Chad and Sarah of the popular YouTube channel It's Bourbon Night bring you their favorite at-home old-fashioned mix with the new Elemental Elixir's Golden Hour Syrup. It's a custom-made syrup with notes of bold black tea, warm spices, and orange zest. All you need is your favorite whiskey and ice. No bitters needed. One bottle makes 16 drinks, so that's only $1 a cocktail before you add your own whiskey. They can also be enjoyed in other cocktails or spirits, mocktails, coffee, tea, and anything you can think of. It's crafted locally in Lexington, Kentucky, and you can get your bottle now at whiskeyambitions.com. Always find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many great bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single barrel bourbon to try with some help from one of their friendly guides. And with every bottle comes the confidence of knowing you just found something amazing. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find only at Total Wine & More. Curbside pickup and delivery available in most areas. Visit TotalWine.com to learn more. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly and be 21.
Welcome back to the episode of the Bourbon Pursuit Podcast, the official podcast of bourbon. Today we are downtown in Louisville at probably one of the coolest visitor attractions that you're going to see in downtown. But Ryan's not with me today, but instead I have a guest stand-in co-host. So today we have Shannon Follett, right? Did I say it correctly?
Good.
All right. So Shannon, just go ahead and introduce people to the show of, who you are, how you got into bourbon, kind of, what you're doing now with bourbon, all that kind of cool stuff.
Yeah. So I'm a local Kentuckian. I've been in the tourism for about 4 years in a couple different facets. I was with Mint Julep Tours for about 3 years, doing some great things. Worked at the Bullet Visitor Experience for about 6 months and a couple other stints with in the bourbon world. And then most recently, I've been a year with the Bourbon Mafia. So I'm a Mafietta, one of the few women.
Okay. So, I mean, we've talked to Brian Gelfa, who's in the Mafia before. And I mean, it's a really kind of a cool experience just because you get to go and pick your own barrels and you get to be part of this kind of like tight-knit club. So it is a pretty cool thing, right?
Oh, yeah. They're just a wonderful group of individuals. They love to share and talk about bourbon. And it's not some crazy elite, who's who. It's very family-like. So I've really enjoyed those people.
Well, that's awesome. So we're glad you can actually make it on the show today because it was funny that, we've had guest stand-ins before, and thank you to everybody that has been a guest stand-in, which was Matt Evans and Lyndon Ferguson before. And I know Shannon, she's been itching to come on. So hopefully this is her time to shine and ask some good questions and really put our guests on the spot today.
Thanks.
So let's go ahead and introduce our guest. So today we have Charlie Downs. Charlie is the master artisanal distiller and at Evan Williams Bourbon Experience for Heaven Hill Brands in downtown Louisville. So Charlie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So before we dive into it, I think we need to give people an idea to know more about you. And as most people know, that my wife also works at Heaven Hill, and I was at the company Christmas party this year, and you were honored because you have now spent 40 years at Heaven Hill.
Well, we can back up. It's 41 now.
41 now.
Yeah. So, as we get older, time flies by. So, yeah, it's 41 now. 41 great years.
So I'll just talk a little bit about how did you kind of carve your path through here and what brought you to Heaven Hill in the very beginning?
Well, it's just we can go back 41 years. Everybody's looking for a job. You're out of school, you need a little money. Your parents say, go. So here we go. So you have to go out and get a job. So I applied to Heaven Hill and was accepted there, and back then, or still is, Heaven Hill was a unionized company. And I started out working with the union and, I worked there for about 59 days and they laid me off.
Oh, really?
So I said, here goes my career at Heaven Hill. 59 days, I'm gone. So anyway, but I was called back, and I started working in the distillery department then, and been there ever since. Enjoyed every minute of it.
So what'd you come in originally for under the union side?
Well, I had worked first I started out in a bottling facility, loading tractor trailers out with loaded case goods. And from there, I had a bid on a job, in order, most time you get a job at Heaven Hill, some of the jobs when they come vacant, when somebody leaves or retires or moves on, you have to bid on it. So, seniority takes a lot of steps into it. So I had signed a job. I'd only been there, 6 months. And some of the older gentlemen said, well, you won't get this job because, you're too young on the senior list. But though I applied, I signed it, and, 2 guys in front of me gave it up. And that's how I started my distillery career. I started at the distillery working in a fermenting room. And from there on, it's all history.
So I guess I kind of talk about some more of those positions that you kind of took to kind of carve your path here, right?
Well,
because it's
so back then at Heaven Hill, there was a lot of the old plant in Barstown. There was a lot of hands-on activity. I mean, you had to do a lot of, not like it is now, where you got a lot of technology that helps you operate a distillery. Back then, we did a lot of stuff hands-on. So there was a lot of jobs, assistance to other people. So I started out, in the fermenting room, and I have done every job in a distillery from then on. Every one, fermenting room, mash tub, operating stills, operating dry house, a boiler room, everything. So it's that kind of taught me the ways of how Heaven Hill did things.
Mm-hmm. So who are some of those people that gave you your break, right?
Well, I credit. I'll go way back to to give you a little history. I'm probably one of 2 people in our company that has worked with all 3 master distillers before me, then also 3 generations of our owners. It goes back to those. So I credit those people that giving me a chance, but especially Parker Bean. He was a great man, and the story I tell today, only thing I can feel is that only thing that I can see is they feel sorry for me. And taught me a lot of things without me realizing it. And as the way I look back now on it, I see that they did. They took me under the wing and taught me a lot of stuff that you ordinary wouldn't divulge in an employee,
right?
Union or company. But I did turn into management in 1983. So after that, they took me under the wing and taught me a lot of stuff and a lot of the old ways how to do things, how to carry on a tradition here at Heaven Hill that we're still doing today.
I guess a good question, since would you consider Parker one of your mentors then, as you went through this? And as most people know, Parker passed away this past year. Yes. And I guess kind of talk about, did you have a favorite memory, or is there a certain lesson that he taught you that you've kind of always honed or took to heart or anything like that?
Well, Parker, the great man he was, he also, he learned from his father also, Mr. Earl. And, Mr. Earl, he always, drove it into his drive. You always want to do the best you can, because you're producing a product that, is for the consumer. You're producing a product that, that you want to be proud of. So, Mr. Earl told, Parker, then Parker, drove it into me, consistency, make a product that's the same day in and day out, don't change anything. Because, you can make different types of whiskeys, American whiskeys as we do, but you want to make those the same way every day, day in and out, so the consumer can have a product they can rely on. That's the same as they buy a bottle this week. Next year, they can go buy a bottle, and it's going to be the same what they're expecting to buy.
So, sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just saying, Parker, his memories of me, once I became management, Parker's wife and my wife, and we all were friends, and he would invite, us over to his house, drink, eat, and just enjoy the afternoon, and you don't see that in very much management, when people, here you are, you're low on the totem pole, you think here's, they're God, not God, but they're
nowadays,
yeah. But you don't expect to associate with them when you're low man on a totem pole. Right. But Parker would that's the kind of guy he was, his family too. They'd take you under their wing and just welcome you in. Mm-hmm. And that's what I remember about Parker and his dad also.
I think that also just kind of speaks to the Heaven Hill family and the brand in itself. I mean, Max drives he doesn't drive a nice Corvette or anything like that, right? I think he still has like a beat up Cadillac or something, right? I mean, that's just kind of what the owners of Heaven Hill actually drive.
Yeah, he does. Max, he's Max drives from Louisville every day all the way to Bardstown, 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about their family. They're not 5 days a week and go home. They are every minute, every day working, doing something for the company and their employees. That's what I recognized about this company years ago. We walk down the hallway and pass Max or any of the brothers, that were still living, Harry, and they'd smack you on the back and say, "How you doing today, Charlie?" And it surprised you. Well, they know my name, but that's the kind of family and that's the kind of business we are. They know just about everyone in our industry here, and also those working for them, and treat them as family too. Even though they're the owners.
Yeah. Right. So I guess talk a little bit about your job here then, right? We've talked about a little bit about you, and kind of how you got into the distilling business in itself. Now, I guess one thing I didn't ask was, your education and background, like in this, when you bid for that distilling part, like, was it something that, like you said, like, oh, okay, like I've been around it enough, like I can do this, or any kind of formal education, or just kind of like, let's just build the plane while we fly?
It's just like the last you said, build a flame as we fly. My prior education, I'm just, actually I'm a high school educated. I have no degree. This was all, self-taught, self-learned, taught through, apprenticeship. And that's the thing, and I believe that's what they saw in me years ago that I can understand, not only the concept, and mechanically and everything like that, self-taught. And, if you give me a test to take on a paper, I cannot do it. But if you show me one time, then I can do it.
There you go.
That's the type of person I am, and you see a lot of people out in the industry like that. But that what they taught and how I conceived and learned it was carried on, through up to today, what I'm doing today.
So talk about that phone call, right? There's a phone call that happens at one point, and they say, "Charlie, we're opening this thing up downtown. We kind of want you to run it." Like, how'd that go?
Well, it actually didn't go that way.
Yeah.
It wasn't a phone call, but it was a person to person ask. But, we had worked on, with Harry Superior and the family, developing this, this center here, trying to develop the process part that we do here, making our American whiskeys every day. So, I've been working on it with them, for a couple of years, helping design this and that and answer some questions. So I had actually went to the family themselves and say, I would love to do this. If you see fit that I'm capable of doing, I would love to do this. So, it was, we was in a meeting one day and Harry said, would you like to do this job? It's available. I said, yes. Mm-hmm. And, the rest history.
Oh, that's awesome. So let's talk about the facility a little bit, right? Let's talk about your baby, what you're here every single morning and doing, and just a little bit more about just in general, right? Here, our facility here is just designed to make 1 barrel of bourbon or American whiskeys a day, and we do that. As when we first started out, we were doing it 7 days a week. We produced our first barrel of bourbon November 14, 2013, and as of today, we're on barrel number 846. So, we've made, 5-6 different types of American whiskeys here. They haven't been released yet. We're still, looking at them and nurturing them and, watching them as we would like one of our own children. Mm-hmm. And as they mature, then we will try to release some of them to the public, as we come of age. But, here, it's a everyday job. We're operating, the distillery operates Tuesday through Saturday now. And we start out about 6 o'clock in the morning. Myself, I have 3 other gentlemen. Jeffrey Fatcheries, which is my assistant. He's been at Heaven Hill 35 years. Mm-hmm. And then I have a young gentleman named James Cox. He's our distillery technician. He's been 3 years. Then also we have another young apprentice named Will J. He's been on board for about a year. So, we're taking these guys under our wings and teaching them, the process and how to make, a great barrel of bourbon. And that's what we do. It takes about 9 hours to make 1 barrel of bourbon here, or American whiskeys a day. Where our main plant, the Bernheim plant makes almost 1,000 barrels a day. And here we're making 1.
And I keep telling them I'm going to catch up with them one day. But, I don't, it might be kind of hard to do.
It's like you might need some expansion.
We might, yeah. But, the expansion, that's another thing. We are stuck with our footprint we have here. We're stuck, our building's only 27 foot wide, and some places we're in 5 stories, but we are stuck on a room. That's as far as we can go.
Right. So I guess talk a little bit more about, 1 barrel a day and I guess what's the main difference between, other than a continuous column still, right? What's the difference in the equipment that you would see here versus Bernheim?
Well, the equipment is a little bit different. The process is about the same. Here at the Distillery, we're using pot stills. And basically that's about the only difference is between our main facility. The main facility, we use column stills. Mm-hmm. We have our mash tub where we cook our grains up to extract our starches. We have our fermenter tanks that we put our fermenters, put our fermented grain in and let it ferment there. But run it through the pot stills, change it quite a bit. Here we're doing, everything we do here is hands-on. That's where the term artisan comes from. It's a craftsman that's doing things in small quantities by hand. Mm-hmm. So, that's what we're doing here, to produce our barrel whiskey. But the pot stills makes it totally different, from a unique, different taste than it is from the continuous stills. So, we've seen that from the barrel 1 all the way through what we're doing now. But the other process, our other part of our process is the same, except for we're on a smaller scale that we're doing here. And we are, as it says, our name says, artisanal. We are doing it, on a craftsman type basis, hands on. We do everything from our grains coming in to grinding our grain, or to dumping our grains in our mash tub, fermenting, cooking them. Everything done by hand. Pumps, valves, everything is done by hand. Where some of the major distilleries is a lot of automation, a lot of automatic valves and stuff cutting on. But here we do everything by hand.
Now, do you feel like you're at an advantage or disadvantage because of it's being done by hand, or is it like, well, I like to make 1 barrel today, right? I'm not making thousands, so it makes it a little bit easier.
It makes it unique. It makes it unique.
There you go.
What we're doing here, by hand is unique. You don't see that very often, much more. But it is starting to make a comeback. A lot of handmade products. Mm-hmm. The consumers wanting to see that handmade. So like I said, there's a niche out there for everybody, that where it be your handmade cheese or handmade anything, mm-hmm. People are looking for that and willing to come from far away to get something like that. And here, being handmade, the way the process we do is totally different. It surprised me the way, the flavors and everything we're picking up now, through our distilling process here.
All right. So I guess also talk about the facility a little bit, because I would think that you almost feel like a hamster in a cage, right? Because as soon as you walk in and you take a tour here, you're gonna walk by, and then all of a sudden, the curtain opens, and then it's like, oh, there's Charlie just checking gauges and temperatures and tasting mash or whatever it is, right?
Well, the whole experience that you experience here, from when you walk in the door till you walk out, it's unique. We're trying to give people the history on who Mr. Evan Williams was. It's not only it's one of our brands. He was the actual person. Mm. So we wanted to educate the public on who he was, who we are, and then to give them a little extra surprise. We do have an operating distillery here. And a lot of people don't realize that, because they're walking through the facility, they're looking at videos, or the tour guides explain this to them. Then all of a sudden, these blinds go up, and then you see it's like what's some of the TV shows, what's behind curtain 1, 2, or 3. Yeah. There's Charlie and Joe.
The big reveal.
And when we're back there distilling, those curtains go up. We have no idea they're going up. Mm-hmm. Here we are, we could be back there, turn the valve or anything like that, and then we could turn around, and all of a sudden people are looking at us, we want to be friendly, wave at them, they wave back sometimes. So, it's not a hamster in a cage. Yeah. It's like being at the movies and the show, and the movies, and the show starts, the curtain goes up, and so here we are, behind the curtain. But, it's nice. You see, we go out and talk to some of the tourists that come through. And we have a little procedure that we let them do every day. Always have pull somebody out of one of our touring groups, or we have a lot of people to request to bung off our barrel, the barrel whiskey or American whiskey we make every day. They want to bung off our barrel, which means you put the stopper in it and hammer it in with a hammer. And we've had people from every walk of life come in to do it. We've had musicians. We have Earth, Wind, and Fire here. We've had Brad Paisley. We've had the astronaut shuttles. The shuttle astronauts, come in and do it. Yeah, and they drew space shuttles on the barrels. We've had priests, we've had a lot of military. We do a lot for the military. We have a bourbon out now called American Hero bottle that has a picture and a story of someone who's been in the service, and so we have a lot of people request that they have a serviceman come in, a serviceman or woman come in and to bung off our barrels. We have a lot of anniversaries. A lot of people come back for their anniversaries every year that the request to have our barrel bung. We have a group that comes in every year for the Farm Machinery Show in February. And they have requested that they want to do it every year when they come back. We've had a wedding party come from the Little Art Center next door, reserved to have the barrel bung, and they walked over with their wedding gowns, tux party still on, bunged their barrel, signed, and went back to their wedding. So little things like that help us to educate, interact with the public. It's a great thing. That's part of when, like I say, when the wind shades go up, then we go out there and talk to these people. But to understand and to realize that. Excuse me.
You're good.
That we're part of this experience is an experience, and I thank you to everyone.
Oh, it keeps you in business, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a positive, right? So feel free to interject with any questions. Anytime you have something, just go ahead and jump in. But I guess another question I'll have for you is, you said you mess with a lot, or you talk to a lot of tourists, and what are some of those oddball questions that some of them ask, right? That you're just kind of like, well, that came out of left field or something like that.
Are they all oddball?
I don't know.
They're interesting.
Is there a stupid question? I don't know. Maybe, but
Have we asked any?
Is there a stupid answer? But the public is they're looking for answers for everything. It's something they don't know or something they don't quite understand. And when they come through here, the first question is, it can only be made in Kentucky. No, it can be, United States. It has to be, 2 years old, 4 years old. No, it does not. It's questions like that. And I had a gentleman come through one day because the tour guide explains, that we pull 60 to 80 samples every day, and we taste half that many to get our proof and make adjustments in our stills to produce our best product. So one day I went out and was talking to the the group, and this gentleman, he was kind of a excuse me.
You're good. Go ahead, drink some water.
I'm gonna have to.
No, you're good. This is all the power of magical part of editing that we can take care of. So you're good. This is why you said don't do it live, right?
Yeah. So I've done it with Mike Beach.
Oh, gotcha.
So
yeah.
So anyway, this went out, and I went out and talked to the tour group, and I could tell this gentleman was itching to ask me something. He's sitting around. So he raised his hand. I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Can I ask you a personal question?" Of course, run through my mind. Well, what's this guy going to ask me? So anyway, he said, the tour guide just said that that y'all taste, you pull 60, 80 samples and you taste half that many. He said, does tasting that bourbon all day long like that, does it make your hair white? Of course, I'm white. He says, it make your hair turn white? And this guy he's like an 8-ball on his head. He was kind of shiny on his head. I said, yes, sir, it makes your hair fall out too.
Oh, no. You must have
enjoyable questions like that. But we also have, we do allow anyone under 21 to do our tours. They can't do any tasting like that. But some of the young children, some of the young people ask questions. Interesting questions. About distilling, the type of equipment we have. Why is it this color? What's it made of? What your stills are made of. and we see this, a lot of places we go. A lot of the young people are interested in what we do, what we produce, and maybe someday that they'll be customers. But that's interesting to see how some of the young people interact and questions they ask. We've had people from every walk of life come through, and sometimes it's hard to understand some of the non-English speaking people, but we can still communicate with them. That's the thing, they still understand.
In your experience, since you have, years and kind of probably seen some trends even, last 5 years and beyond, have you seen a difference in consumers as, kind of touching on questions or their knowledge or any difference between the years?
Yes, nowadays, they're wanting to know how it's made. They're inquisitive about, the type of grains we use, where we get them from. Are they non-GMO? That type of question.
Are they non-GMO?
Yeah. Can you answer that?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. But they're and their question, are we going to produce anything organic? Some companies, there's some, a lot of stuff now is organic.
All of wine have gone that way.
Right. And the consumer, they're looking for things like that. And in the future, we will probably make something, organic.
I guess educate me a little bit. Like, what would be the difference between organic versus like what's basically happening today? Like, are just the grains just not organic enough? I mean, what's in the process that's not making it quote unquote organic?
Well, the organic, they're not using any pesticides, any type equipment treatment, to enhance, the productivity. And people nowadays, you hear about a lot of pesticides, insecticides being used on a lot of things, and how it's grown, where it's grown at. So people are more getting interested in a lot of organic products.
I think I read a comic once that said when my grandparents used to go to the grocery store, there was no such thing as organic. It was just called going to the grocery store, right?
Right, yeah. But that's the way of the public now. People are wanting different types of products produced different types of ways. And if you do not get on the bandwagon for it, then you're losing out. You're losing out on sales one day or something like this. So we're looking at it.
Whatever the consumer's focused on.
It is, and that's what we are. We're a consumer friendly company. That's what we want. We want to provide a product to the consumer. And make and hope they enjoy it and come back and see us again, because we are providing something that they are really wanting.
If you're anything like me, then you can't get enough about bourbon. And that's why I'm a subscriber to Bourbon Plus magazine. Bourbon Plus is a quarterly publication that tells the stories from the heart of bourbon, the farmers who grow the grain, the distillers who labor over the process, and the people like you and me who raise their glasses to celebrate it all. Subscribe to Bourbon Plus magazine today at bourbonplus.com, that's PLUS.com, and use code PURSUIT at checkout for $5 off your subscription. Shopify's already taken the cash register online, helping millions sell billions around the world. But did you know that Shopify can do the same thing at your retail store? Give your point of sale system a serious upgrade with Shopify. Shopify's point of sale is your command center for your retail store. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify has everything you need to sell in person. And with Shopify, you get a powerhouse selling partner that effortlessly unites your in-person and online sales into one source of truth. Track every sale across your business in one place and know exactly what's in stock. Connect with customers in-line and online. Shopify helps you drive store traffic with plug-and-play tools built for marketing campaigns, from TikTok to Instagram and beyond. And get hardware that fits your business. Take payments by smartphone. Transform your tablet into a point-of-sale system, or use Shopify's point-of-sale Go mobile device for a battle-tested solution. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Do retail right with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/bourbon, all lowercase, and go to shopify.com/bourbon to take your retail business to the next level today. Shopify.com/bourbon.
So when we think about the consumer side and want to give them what they want, it seems like lately people are going crazy over like weeded mash bills and just like barrel proofs and some kind of crazy cask finishes. But like, what is kind of like your thought of what you're doing here, of kind of what Parker told you, of sticking tradition, sticking to consistency, and you said before that you were trying a few different things here. Can you kind of dive into a little bit about what you are kind of messing with?
Well, we haven't released anything yet.
Yeah.
So we still have to leave you to question what we're doing, and one day hope that I want this when they release it. We have done several different types of mash bills. We have done regular rye based bourbons. We have done a wheated bourbon. We have done a rye whiskey, and we have done a what we call a high rye bourbon. There's no definition out there yet for high rye bourbons, but you look at anything up in the 20% to 30 percentile range of using rye in a bourbon. So that's what we classify what we're doing here, a high rye bourbon, and it's turned out excellent so far. I can't give you any mash bills yet or any percentages
I don't think that's even in Heaven Hill's category to be able to give me anything out. So
until we release it, it's still questionable to the public what we're doing. But those products that we have made here, they have been excellent products so far, and we are testing them every 6 months, see how they're aging. And, like I say, we'll watch them until one day they become of age and we can put them in a bottle and release them to the public.
Yeah, because, typically 4 to 6 years. You're pretty much, you've approached the 4th year, right? So
yeah.
I guess kind of like, what do you think has it matured to the way that you would want it to at this point? Or do you think it still needs a little bit more time in the wood?
Now that's just my opinion, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody has an opinion.
You are the master artisanal distiller here.
Yeah, but it's higher beings than me.
Yeah.
But it's aging how as well as we want it to be. But I myself, I love an older type whiskey or bourbon. But I'm hoping just my opinion, my suggestion. Hope we don't release anything before 6 years myself.
Mm-hmm.
We want a product to release out there. The public's going to come say, "Oh, this is it's going to be excellent." But they want to, I want a 6-year-old bourbon or American whiskeys type, and whether it be cask strength or single barrel or small batch, that's still yet to be decided. Mm-hmm. But we hope that we can release something that they all will enjoy and want to come back and buy us out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess another question, and this is kind of part of the whole movement and what's happening right now. You chose to use the word artisanal instead of craft, right? So is there a deeper meaning behind that? Just because we're not creating a new brand or we're not doing whatever, is there a meaning behind choosing the word artisanal over it?
Well, artisanal, it is a craftsman. That's the definition. You are producing whatever you're doing, whether it be in bourbons or whatever kind of craft you're in. You're using quality grains. You're doing it type of an old-fashioned way, hands-on operation to produce it. You could say, we're type of a craft distiller. We elect to call ourselves artisanal. Mm-hmm. At what I tell people, what artisanal to me is, the first word, art. I'm thinking of an artist. Artist has he has his canvas, he has his paints, and he has something in his mind that he wants to produce. And that's the same way we are here at our artisanal distillery here. We have our equipment, which is our canvas. We have our grains, which is same thing as his paints to the artist, and our brushes. He has his brushes, we have our valves and everything. So we know what we want to produce. We know what we want to make, just like the artist. He has his picture that he wants, or his background that he wants to put on his easel or his board there. Mm-hmm. So, as each step of the process we're doing here, the artist is doing too. He's taking his brush, making his strokes. We're cooking our grains. At the end, he has his masterpiece. We have our masterpiece. Mm-hmm. He has his painting. We have our barrel.
It's my favorite kind of art, edible art.
That's what it says.
Drinkable art.
Drinkable art.
I can't drink a Picasso. So
yeah, good. That's good. Yeah.
I'm in interest, with Heaven Hill having such a vast portfolio, which just makes it so wonderful and, family owned. Along the way, has there been any like specific challenges that you've been excited to learn? I know you've said you've worked with, whether it's bottle and bond stuff or high rise or anything that stands out that's been kind of a fun challenge for you.
Here or in my whole life?
Whatever you want to answer, I guess.
The thing is, producing, years ago when we decided to do, wheated bourbons, our Bernheim Original, which is a full body wheat whiskey, to be able to devise a recipe for that, distill it, and see how it's going to turn out. Because, nobody else had produced, a high volume wheat whiskey like that, being 51% wheat. So, it's exciting to do something like that. It's exciting, here at the Edwin Experience, to produce a high rye bourbon, which, that we had not produced before, company wide, to have it turn out like it has, to get a great quality taste. And we know that I know that one day, then when it becomes available in a bottle, it's going to be a unique product. That's with Heaven Hill, diversified the way we are. Years ago, distilleries only had one or two labels. That's all they had. And back then, a lot of them, some of them rotated the barrels in their warehouses to have a consistent product, to be able to fill those three different labels that they had. Now, they diversified out into single barrel, small batches, bottle and bonds products, something that's available to appeal to every person, their taste appeal. And the same way, not only with whiskeys or American whiskeys and bourbons, vodkas, we have line of vodkas, Heaven Hill Burness vodka, 37 flavors. We're going to catch up. We're going to catch up with Baskin Robbins one day. But be able to have something available for every person's taste out there in the world, no matter who you are. And that's the reason I think now companies do not rotate their barrels in their warehouses, because Heaven Hill has almost 1.3 million barrels of bourbon aging in their warehouses. That's costly to go out there and try to rotate barrels from first floor to seventh floor, fifth floor, like that. Look at the time consuming and the cost it would do. So I think that's now the reason companies have diversified out with so many different types of labels, proofs, everything to
that's a good theory.
Not incur that cost. Yeah,
it's a good theory.
It is. That's, of course, it's my theory.
Yeah.
Everybody has one.
Yeah, it could just be marketing being marketing. It could be a few different things, right? But that's a good theory.
But no, and like I say, it's something available to everybody's tastes out there, and also their pocketbook too.
So I guess talk a little bit more about you have the ability to experiment to a degree, right?
Yes.
Now, you said you've done a few different mash bills. You've done a high rye, you've done wheat, you've probably just done regular, rye-based mash bill.
Yes.
At what point, have you ever experimented with something and been like, well, this was a mistake, right? Or has it been like, well, we're shooting we're batting 1,000 right now, right? Uh-oh. They're stumping the chump here.
No. They're, we can knock on wood, or, we have, in my time here at Heaven Hill, we have never made a mistake on a product, because, with all the expertise through the years with Parker Burrell and also Craig Mean, before we decide to do something, it's thought out. We have asked questions of other distillers. That's the thing about, the distilling industry. We are all friends, every one of us. All the distillers, they get together and drink, drink each other bourbon. It's all free. They bring it,
It's all free.
It's all free. So we get together, and we've exchanged ideas. We've exchanged, have you had this problem with certain types of grains, or how you cook it, or how you mix them together? Different things like so. So you can understand some of the taste profiles of different grains and stuff cooked together. So to make a product that you would have to not be very proud of, whatever, it's not, probably almost non-existing. Now, don't say we have an experiment with different things, and the taste profiles of those have not turned out what we expected. But it's very seldom you see something like it. But like I say, every distillery has experimental products they use. But being here at the Bourbon Experience, being on a small scale that I can do, I can experiment more with that types of experimentation if I want to do it. But I haven't done it yet. We're sticking, to our basic roots, producing products that, that we know the consumer want. But who's not to say one day we might make something that's unusual that nobody else has made. But you only have so many types of grains and stuff that you can mix together that will produce a unique taste, and that then will age in a barrel correctly.
Oh yeah, because I haven't seen anybody try quinoa yet, right? So
Not yet. But there's a lot of craft distilleries out there now that are experimenting with making a lot of unusual products.
Different type of corn.
Different types of corn. We have done. We did a couple years ago. We did what we call a bourbon affair, which is happening this week.
Yeah.
We had 2 groups come in, and we let them actually make a mash bill for us, recipe. They got to come in. We gave them several different types of grain to choose from, and to be bourbon if they wanted a bourbon or a whiskey. So they got to decide from yellow corn or white corn.
I'm gonna go on a limb and just say they chose bourbon every single time over whiskey.
They did.
Yeah, okay.
They did.
Just a guess.
But one group used so much percentage of white corn mixed with yellow corn. So which was unique. We let them choose the proof that it was distilled at, the proof that it went in the barrel at, and the type of barrel. We let them choose the type of barrel. Of course, this group there's about 30 people, and we divide them into certain, like 3 different groups of 10 people each, and those groups came up with a kind of recipe they wanted, and then at the end, everybody got to vote on which recipe they want, and we are inviting them back every year now, or every 6 months, to test or to taste their product and see how it's finishing up. And we're going to let them choose. Whether it's going to be a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old.
Yeah, and this was part of the Heaven Hills Build a Barrel workshop.
Program,
That's
yes.
what part it was. I guess I guess for me, educate me, because when you talk about the difference of half white corn, half yellow corn, like what's the difference? Like at the end of the day, like is there really that big of a flavor difference?
Yeah,
the white from there, especially when you boil it down.
White corn has a lot more starch and everything in it, so you're going to be a little sweeter. So you do have that type of different flavors in it just from the regular yellow corn. So that's going to make a little difference. And the amount of rye we use it. We let them use rye or wheat if they wanted wheat bourbon or rye bourbon. So the percentage of rye in it, and also the percentage of malt. All that will change the flavors of your product, how much of the grains you use in it.
Gotcha. That's interesting to me because, like I said, when you said like white corn, yellow corn, bloody butcher corn, like all these things, like I'm just like, well, what's the difference? Like it's just corn, like boil it down, right? But I had no idea.
Some of the small craft distilleries I've seen before that they're using different. They're using blue corn, Indian corn.
I mean, do you really think that gives anybody a competitive advantage? Do you think? I mean, at this point, it's craft, and so they've got to test and they've got to wait, right? So, do you think it's
right?
It's a gamble.
It could be, but it appeals to someone out there in the public. It appeals to them, whether they use Indian type corn or blue corn. They're making chips out of blue corn. So if you ever tried that,
I've seen them at Costco.
Yeah, it's kind of unique seeing the blue color there. Of course, our whiskey doesn't come out blue.
Yeah,
That'd be weird.
It's.
I would say, there's always talk like bottle and bond, like you can't add artificial colors and flavors. But I was like, I wonder if a darker corn would make it actually darker.
No. Of course, when you distill, your product, when you distill it,
right, it's always clear.
It's always clear. So, but some people might think of that. Using blue corn is the whiskey going to be blue? But it's going to be a unique flavor. So I hope that what they produce is what they're expecting out of their taste profile that they want out of this type of grains.
If it was blue corn and made blue whiskey, I'd figure like it'd be like a Walter White scenario where you got you've got the whole underground
whole new
ring.
trend.
Right. Yeah.
Any of those stand out that some of the folks did for the Build a Barrel, like that you're like, oh, okay, that's something different, or you kind of the group gravitated towards in the process?
What they're come back and tasting, or what they started with?
Either way.
Well, It kind of surprised me, you know, when the first group wanted to do some white corn, you know, and the second group, they wanted to go towards more of a heavy rye type bourbon. So, you know, that's the thing, you know, you're seeing now some of the public now that's just tasting whiskeys and bourbons, their taste profiles has kind of changed up. A lot of people are recognizing rye bourbons now. You know, that is a growing trend, rye bourbons. So a lot of people are seeing that, and you know, and a lot of the mixologists out there now are using rye bourbons in it. But you know, the two type of groups that we had in the Build-A-Barrel program was totally different. I mean, you know, and I didn't see anything in age profile. You know, they were from 70 on down to, you know, being above 21. So that didn't reflect whatever it changed, but it surprised me that one group wanted to do a type of corn, another group wanted to do a heavier rye, and we gave them both the same parameters to pick from.
So let's talk about you when you just drink bourbon on the regular here, right? So you get to drink it fresh from the still every single day, right? You're talking 120, 140, 100.
Anywhere from 160 down.
All right, so yeah, so you're up there. Now, when you're actually sitting on your, you know, in your living room or on your front porch or whatever it is, are you a barrel proof guy? Are you somebody who likes to have a, you know, bottled and bond, 100 proof, 90 proof? Like where's your flavor profile?
I'm an old person. I love aged bourbon. You know, anything. My choice would be, you know, an 18, 20, 21, 22.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, you know, they're questionable about some of the characteristics that you pick up in older bourbon, you know, some of the wood flavors and stuff like that. But I love it. Single barrels, you know, any of our single barrels from, you know, Ed Williams single barrel, Henry McKinnon single barrel, those types of bourbons. But myself, I prefer an older bourbon. But I'll drink all of ours.
Yeah, you know, of course you will.
Of course, you know, my wife's also in the industry too. She's in the bourbon industry. So
what's she do?
So she's the HR manager for Wild Turkey.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
You know, of course, you know. Well, she used to be the HR manager for Jim Beam. She was HR manager for Barton's. So now she's the HR manager for Wild Turkey. So
she's run out of places to move to.
Yeah, great. You know, keeps us in supply of different types of bourbons and whiskeys at the house.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. You know, some of our friends come over, or whatever. We host something. You know, and we're in a kind of argument. Whose bourbon are they going to drink tonight? You know, whatever. So, but no, we
Good problem to have.
You know, well, that's the same thing I was saying about earlier about the, you know, all the master distillers or anybody in the industry. We get together, we drink each other's bourbons. You know, everybody makes good bourbon, great bourbons. Of course, you know, we'll say ours is better, but just like anybody else. But you know, myself, you know, when I'm out, I love the cask strength bourbons, higher proof bourbons. Appeal to some people that doesn't appeal to me. You know, I want something that I can actually, you know, put a ice cube in and let it sit there. You know, the higher proof bourbons, you know, the 130s, 140s, you know.
Hazmats.
Yeah. For my particular taste, you know, they're a little bit too high for me. But, you know, anywhere from 100 up to 115, 20, you know, once you put an ice cube in it, let it relax, breathe, you cannot ask for a better product.
Sweet spot.
And you know, and not to say that you know, sometimes when I'm out talking, you know, people ask, you know, how do I drink bourbon? Like you just asked now. And I ask them how they'll drink their bourbon. You know, they'll hesitate because they might add Diet Coke, you know,
mellow yellow,
you know, and that's not wrong. You know, we tell people you enjoy the bourbon the way you enjoy it. Don't let somebody tell you how you should drink it. You enjoy it the way you do. And you know, another thing you say, you know, I ask them whose brand they drink. Their heads and tell me too. I said it does matter, but it doesn't really, because as long as you enjoy bourbon and drink bourbon, that's fine. If you get a chance to enjoy ours, please do. But you know, don't let anybody tell you not what to drink, how to drink it. You drink it and enjoy it how you like it.
Right.
And that's what I do. You know, I may every once in a while. It all depends what I'm doing. You know, if I'm sitting on the porch, you know, I'll drink some, you know, some bourbon neat or just like, you know, little ice cube in it. But if I'm going to be doing something all day, which involves, like we go in my off time, which I have a little bit of. We
Sounds like on Sundays and Mondays.
we do a lot of outdoor activity. We camp. We do side by side riding. ATV riding, which I don't drive.
No, okay.
But there where I socialize, I may add a drop of some kind of soda or something to it, club soda, or some Canada Dry. But it has to be a diet. So, I have to watch my figure.
Oh, well.
We all do.
Well, it's summer.
But
It's bathing suit season.
like I say, people say, "Well, he's mixing it." That's how I prefer it at different types, and that's different times. And it's to say, don't let anybody tell you when, how, or how you shouldn't drink it.
I'm with you on that because I see people all the time, whether on forums or Facebook friends or something, and they're sitting there drinking out of a Glencairn in the beach. And I'm just like, how are you doing this right now? That sounds
It's way too fancy.
Oh, it sounds horrible sitting there drinking, warm bourbon on a hot day. Like, you got to chill it down or something for me. That's the only way I could take it.
Chill down.
Yeah, well, I mean, no. Believe me, I drink it. I drink it neat as often as I can. I'm just saying a 99 degree day in the middle of July out on the beach. Yeah, I'm probably going to sit there and put an ice cube or two in.
You wouldn't turn it down, though, would you?
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, we have to check and see, We don't if you turn a good bourbon down.
Whoever said the best bourbon's a free bourbon, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. But with Heaven Hill Fires, you were at the company. I was just always curious. You always remember where you were, what happened. I was just kind of curious. If
that was a good
Well,
question.
I didn't know if that was okay to ask. So
The day of the fire, okay. We were normal operation distillery, and we carried walkie-talkies with us, myself and Craig.
it was a beautiful day, wasn't it? Like a
No.
was
We
it
had some
stormy?
severe storms.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Totally.
We had 60 to 70 mile an hour winds and a lightning storm, in the area.
Is what did. Okay.
So they, Craig and I was down to the main distillery, which is down below the hill. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we were there, and we got a call that one of the warehouses was on fire. So Craig and I,
Because you're on site.
yeah. So Craig and I had drove up to the hill,
of the hill. Mm-hmm.
where the warehouse was on fire. So he and I were talking. They were calling out, fire department. So I didn't know what was going to happen. So Craig and I was talking, and Craig said, "I'll stay here. You going back down to the distillery and starting the process of shutting everything down because we don't know what's going to happen."
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I got down to below the hill distillery and communicated to our employees what was going on, and we're going to shut all the process down and everything. So by the time that happened, we was inside. We wouldn't see what was happening outside. So by the time we shut everything down, come out to our front of our distillery, our entrance to our distillery was up on the second level, so we had to go up a set of stairs. So we walked out this door, and the whiskey was running in our front gate on fire.
Oh, jeez.
We couldn't get out there. You couldn't see the flames because it burned so clear. You could just see the heat rising. So the burning whiskey was running down Highway 49 making a left turn into our front gate. So we couldn't go out that way. So all of our employees went out the back, and there was a creek that ran around behind the distillery.
How many employees are?
We had probably 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's at the distillery.
Right.
So we had probably a 10, and some of them when we went back there, some of them went to the left, went up the hill towards the bottling house. Then some of us stayed down at on the other side of the creek where the distillery was. So then it was just a heavy turn loose. Other distilleries, other warehouses caught fire, and more alcohol running down. So my wife was actually, she was working at Jim Beam at the time. She was actually flying back from Dearborn, Chicago. Mm-hmm. She was on a plane sitting next to Denny Crum.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they had come on. The pilot had come on and said there was a major fire. Heaven Hill was on fire.
Oh no!
Of course, didn't have any cell phones back then. I didn't. Well, I wouldn't carry a cell phone. So she didn't know what my status was. So finally, about of course, the fire started at 2:40 or 2 in the afternoon. So finally, at 9 o'clock at night, I had got a hold of her because I was cut off. I was on the other side below the fire, and I was staying there, for employees, for company, everything like that. And I did not get a hold of her until 9 o'clock at night. I told her that I was still.
You're okay.
I was okay. Yeah.
Sick.
But it was. If you ever seen some of the pictures, it looked like a worn strewn area, it was devastated. It was bad. And then then the next morning, we all came back and of course mud was deep, debris and everything was a foot, 2 foot deep around our distillery, and we still had fires going on everywhere, and the very top of our distillery, which was on the 5th floor, was our cooling box that we held our jug yeast in, our family yeast. Even though electricity was cut off, that floor did not sustain very much fire damage. So we went and rented a cherry picker and went up and got our family yeast out and took it and put it in an undisclosed location to protect it. And so that we still be able to carry on the strain of yeast that we had.
So there's always that question of if your house is on fire, what's the one thing you grab?
Jug yeast.
In a distillery, it's a jug of yeast.
Jug yeast.
Capsule now.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for sharing. That's cool.
Yeah, but the thing about having nobody lost their job. Very next morning everybody was absorbed into the volume facility, a warehouse. And the thing about I was telling you earlier about our industry, we had several phone calls next morning from other distilleries. Wanting how can they help us? What can they do for us? Can they sell us aged bourbon that we thought we lost in our warehouses? Can they produce bourbon for us? And we contracted with Jim Beam the very next day to make whiskeys for us using our recipe and our yeast. Even though Jim Beam's yeast was, some of the same strain that we had, it had been tweaked by Mr. Earl Beam, Parker's dad, and so they made our whiskeys for us using our recipe and our yeast strain.
That's what's so special about the industry. I don't know how others might.
Can't you see Coca-Cola making something for Pepsi?
Yeah, they're like, no thanks.
No, I think that's they add more fuel to fire. Right, yeah. So one more kind of like shop talk right before we wrap up. So you and Denny Potter work pretty close hand in hand. I guess what is your all's repertoire between going back and forth on whether you need a hand over here or you need to go over there and help him, or is it just kind of like we'll just spitball ideas on a weekday or something?
Well, Denny has his operation over there, and I have mine here, and we're same company, but we're kind of two different operations. And we do exchange ideas sometimes, on things, but but long as operations side, he does his, and I do mine. Grains and stuff, we talk about different grains and stuff, suppliers and whatever. If we're out together, we've done tastings at different liquor stores. We get together and we can collaborate on what we're going to talk about, who we're going to talk about. Yeah, we don't ask them beforehand. We can talk about it, but we do anyway.
Back, we're going to talk about
here we go. But different things like that. But like I said, it's two different operations. It's like your mother and father, coming in. They're same family. She has her job, he has his job. Sometimes you talk about them, sometimes you don't at the dinner table.
Yeah, that's good.
Like who's bringing the bigger picture?
Right, yeah. Oh, well, you want to talk about that now? we can ask Lauren or somebody like that, about the bigger paycheck. Yeah. But no, we work together as much as we can on things and talk, but like I said, it's two different operations. As interchanging employees, we don't do that. Over there, you're not
trying to poach between ones.
Right? Yeah, Denny's a great guy, and I've since Denny came on board, I've helped him in a lot of ways to be get accustomed to how we do things at the Bernheim plant, because I had worked there when we bought the plant in April 1999. Myself and Craig Beam had started working there. We've been there ever since. So the ins and outs of the Bernheim plant, I'm pretty familiar with. So Denny has called and asked certain things, whatever, about this and that. So it's a good working relationship between us. But like I said, we don't intermingle employees. All their employees over there, the Bernheim plant is most one technology advanced distilleries in the world. So everything's run by computerized. So over here we do everything by hand. So somebody over there don't want to go over and work by hand. Yeah.
Like, excuse me.
Yeah. So what's this for? What's it for? So can't push a button. But no, really, it's a great plant over there, and we do converse about things, but we don't interchange employees.
So what do you think is going to be next for Evan Williams Bourbon Experience? Right? It's at this point you've said there's no expansion. It's not going to be possible just because of the footprint. But I think maybe the obvious one is a bottle of something will hit the shelves at some point. But like, what do you think is going to be the next roadmap mile for you?
Well, let's see. Retirement. No. I'll be. Actually, I got a birthday coming up next Saturday.
Hey.
I'll be 62.
Happy early.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed every minute being here at Heaven Hill.
Mm-hmm.
What we're looking going down the road, what we're going to do. Wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good question to ask you about retirement, because I mean, we've interviewed plenty of master distillers. Jimmy Russell being one of the big ones that we can talk about, and he's well into his 80s, and he's at the distillery every single day. You think you're going to be that kind of way? You think you're just going to say, "I've had a good time. I'm going to go ahead and hand the reins over and let somebody else take over from here"?
If we could all tell the future,
Yeah, you don't know if you can. Give it up.
But I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. Mm-hmm. Not only with the great family here that we work with, employees and owners also, and producing a great product. I mean, how can we go wrong? How can I go wrong? Mm-hmm. As long as I'm healthy, be able to kind of work every day, enjoy what I do, and produce a great product for that I know that I am producing a great product for the family, for the company, and for the consumer. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a 50th anniversary. You can't never tell. I might, but like I say, no, I'm here. It's you always think people ask well, you're 62, you're going to retire. Why? I enjoy what I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
love what I do.
Yeah, because you're just here in the Louisville area too, right? So it makes it a little bit easier.
No. I drive here every day
from Bardstown.
Yes,
wow.
Always have. It takes as long as hit the right time of day, about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Mm-hmm. It's just, the traffic sometimes is horrendous coming in, especially if it's a wreck or whatever, and I'm impatient. I cannot sit in traffic, I when he's got my hands gripped on, let's go.
It sounds like the perfect time to be able to kill it with listening to a podcast on the way. So
right, there we go. Yeah.
So Charlie,
but I'm here, same way, the Jody, my assistant, Jody been here for 35 years, and he's not a spring chicken like us either, like me either.
I was going to say, is he itching for you to leave so he can take your position?
Hey, isn't everybody?
Yeah.
Then also, James is 31, and Will is probably 29. So these guys said, yeah, kick the old man out the door. Yeah, go, kick him out. Let's go. Well, I want a job.
Bourbon's like a preservative, I think.
Yeah, it is. That's what the guys, the guy asked me about my white hair at the time, said, yep. It makes you turn bald sometimes, but it keeps you preserved, keeps you young, keeps your mind alert, and others.
There you go. That's a good line right there. Bourbon's a preservative.
It really is.
I mean, for all kinds of different things, especially for the human factor, for sure.
Good for AJ.
So, Charlie, I want to say thank you again for coming on the show today. It was a pleasure to finally get some more Heaven Hill love on here. We've been looking forward to be able to get you on here and actually, feature the UB, the Evan Williams Bourbon Experience on here as well. So, definitely a pleasure. So, again, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Awesome. So, if you like what you hear, make sure you tell a friend. Support the podcast by telling a friend. Write us reviews on iTunes, and of course, we're always open to advertisers and sponsors that want to partner with us for helping support the show and keep it going. If you have any more show suggestions, make sure you send us an email at theduo@bourbonpursuit.com. And Shannon, I want to say thank you again for helping co-host today and step in when Ryan can't be here.
Sorry, Ryan.
Who knows? He might be out of a job soon. We'll see.
Not quite yet.
We'll see.
Thank you.
Yeah, but again, thank you so much, and we'll see you all next week.